So by now, myself, including most of you, probably have seen Captain America Civil War, most of us multiple times. If you haven't, this video is obviously going to contain a bunch of spoilers, and we're going to be talking about some stuff that happens in the post-credit scene and some of the stuff I think about. Now obviously it's no secret that Spider-Man makes his MCU debut in this movie, of course played by Tom Holland. Now another thing that is interesting in this movie is that we see the early proto costume, except he gets a brand new one courtesy of Tony Stark. But this new costume and web shooter specifically have a few extra gadgets that he was not expecting. The first thing I'm going to talk about is obviously, let's look at the web shooter and notice that it has this blue dim light kind of going around it. I'm willing to place a bet this is some sort of mini stripped down arc reactor that will be able to power this hand device slash light for quite a long time before he needs to get it recharged. Now why exactly am I bringing this up and why am I talking about it right now when I already ended up explaining the post-credit scene? Well, this is actually going to be a different video where I speculate on exactly what this is. So first off, let's get into this scene right here. Obviously when he's fiddling around with the web shooter trying to take it off, we see that he's having a hard time, and then the wrist lights up and it ends up projecting a light into the ceiling. Now obviously he looks quite surprised and he's taken kind of by surprise by this. Obviously he didn't know this was here, so clearly Tony Stark did not tell him he made an improvement on his web shooter. Or at least he did tell him that he improved the web shooter, but he did not in fact tell him that he added a, holographic projection on here. And we of course see that this holographic projection is the Spider logo. Now of course this is Spider-Man's iconic, face logo. We all know what this is. This is actually very important to Spider-Man's history throughout the comics, as he actually had a device that would do such a thing. He got it in the Amazing Spider-Man issue number 3, and what he would do is before he would fight the criminals, he would try to strike fear into their hearts so they would stop doing what they were doing by flashing this symbol onto them. Now whether he uses this for that or not is going to be left to be, seen in the upcoming Spider-Man Homecoming. And now one of the reasons I don't think he will be using it to, kind of shine it on criminals is because of what happens here. As we see, one of the cubes along the side and the outer edge of the projection ends up lighting up and blinking white. Now, obviously, why would you want to flash that onto criminals? It doesn't make a lot of sense. So to me, I see this as some sort of holographic projection that is a interface into, more of a database on maybe the Avengers and how to contact Tony himself, how to look at so many things around the world, maybe even, an insight into what the, New York City Police Department is doing. Sort of like an all-in-one GPS, cell phone, and everything here so he can communicate. And the reason I bring this up is because in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, when he's recruited as a potential recruit for the Avengers, we see him get a similar device from them. Now with this device, he can do a variety of things. One specific thing is being able to communicate with other members with holographic projections. Another thing he can do along with that is project a targeting reticle to make sure that all of his shots connect exactly where they are shooting. So he uses this mainly for very precise shots. So if he really needs to stick a spider tracer on something, he can shoot it out of this. Which brings me back to this image right here. When looking at this, I'm going to predict that one of these is going to be a map interface. So when he does end up shooting a spider tracer onto something, he'll be able to display a map of New York that in real time tracks where it is. So he doesn't have to, pull a device out of his pocket or anything. He can literally just look down on it or shine it somewhere and have it right there, so he doesn't need to slow down. Now another theory I have about this is that he will have full access to what Tony Stark has been doing, and that is monitoring other heroes that have been showing up around the planet, specifically in New York, to kind of be aware that there are more of them here. And every day we seem to be getting more Inhumans, more vigilantes popping up, so it's kind of going to be a giant Avenger database, almost like a Wikipedia, where other people can kind of look into it. Of course, this was all available to all the Avengers, but as Spider-Man is not an Avenger yet, this is going to be like a lighter version of it, so he can pretty much do some studying before he becomes an honorary member. So hopefully this video has done a good job of explaining to you guys what I think is going on here and why I think it looks the way it is and why I think it's going to be doing the things I think it's going to be doing, such as using a map and spider tracers and all that. So you guys let me know your thoughts on this. Am I just crazy? Am I just making up crazy stuff? Or do you guys think there's anything to what I'm saying here? Let me know down below.